Some of my relatives were very positive, but in my day, the first thing was, why do you think you can go to medical school? You're a woman. 2, why do you think you can go to medical school? You have no political pull. 3, why do you think you can go to medical school? You have no money, which was almost the truth. And why do you think you can go to medical school? You'd never make a living if you made it. Those were the negative things that I heard. At age 9, and they say that's about the age that most people decide, men or women, that they want to become a doctor. And so about age 9 I did. And my grandmother, who lived with us, helped me save up my nickels, dimes, until I could get enough money. And there was an older lady who was a widow that had books from her husband when he was a chiropractor. And I trudged over half a mile to a mile down there, bought 2 books from her, Gray's Anatomy and Dorland's Medical Dictionary. And I brought them back to the house. I never got them there. I had to pick the 2 largest ones. I opened up Gray's Anatomy, and I came upon the male and female anatomy, which scared the daylights out of me, and I slammed them shut, and I didn't open, I don't think, until I hardly got to medical school. But I'd already made my mind up at 9. Out of a class of 100, only 6 girls, and sometimes only 2 girls might be accepted. We were the exception. There were 6 girls in our class out of 100, because nobody wanted women in medicine. The first 3 months I lived on curiosity. I made money for the company on curiosity. They wanted to see what a woman doctor looked like. I can still remember this lady coming in, and she said, "You don't look like a woman doctor." And here I am. I'm only 28. I'm skinny, no gray hair, not bad looking. And I said, "Well, ma'am, what's a woman doctor supposed to look like?" "Well, you're supposed to be old and fat and gray." And I thought, thank God, now at my age, I finally lived to see what I looked like a woman doctor. I had the hospital, I had the office, and I assisted in surgery. I did deliveries. And as it turned out, I had more deliveries on the books when I left than my associate, who was the top in the county, because women wanted to come to a woman doctor. I had some interesting experiences on that too, I clue you. But anyway, I had some interesting times. I had one lady who was expecting her 12th child, and her husband had managed to get a medical card from the UMWA. So she decided the 12th one should be born in a hospital instead of the cold camp, and she wanted me to deliver it. So I took her through prenatal. I got her in the delivery room, and she said, "Now, they always call me Murray." She said, "Now, Murray, I don't want none of that there gas." And I said, "Fine with me. I want a child that comes out pink and squalling, not blue and flabby." And she said, "No, I don't want my legs in them there stirrups." And I said, "That's fine. I can break the table." And then she said, "And when I grunt twice, you catch." And I thought, that's too far. I mean, here I am. Out came a 12-pound boy in the mid-air catch. I mean, after all, this was her 12th child. Then going back on the gurney, she raised up where the women were in labor, and she said, "All right, girls, y'all can have her now. I've showed her how it's done." And so, but it was a lot of interesting things happened along the way. One of the things one time is the high sheriff called me in the office, and that was a scary thing in my days, that the high sheriff called you. And he said, "I understand you've been making house calls at night up and down the hollers." Now remember, this was many years ago. It was a little scarier then, and not as many. I said, "Yes, sir, I have." He said, "Do you have a gun?" I said, "No, sir, I don't." He said, "Can you shoot a gun?" I said, "Well, I can outshoot 3 of my 4 mountain uncles with a rifle. They taught me, but I'm not very good with a pistol." He said, "I'm ordering you to get a gun, and I want to see a 38. He said, "If you get close enough, you'll knock them down and they won't get up. But one of those little ones, 5 times, and they'll get up and kill you, or do other things that they shouldn't." So it was amazing that these people, and then the little older couple that lived across the street in an apartment from my apartment, they were in their 70s, way up there. I can say that because I'm in my 70s. And one night it was cold, it was snowy, it was slick, and there was a knock on my door on the second story, and he said, "Doctor, your lights are on." I said, "Oh, this is 2 o'clock in the morning." I had been up, out, and just was so tired I didn't think to turn them off. He said, "I tried, doctor, but your doors are locked on the car." And I thought, and I found out years later they were not my patients, but they would wait at night till I'd come home from house calls to be sure I was all right. And I didn't even know them. And there were a lot of things like this. Yes, I had resentments. I'm sure I did. But I was too naive sometimes to know that I was being put down. So you see, it was a really vivid experience in my mind to be able to do and help and go and to see the everyday things that I would not have seen as if I had not been a physician.